And we are recording the meeting, so if anybody needs this later, we'll have that for you. So I'm just gonna start off real quick. We're gonna introduce ourselves as, if anybody doesn't know me, I am Megan Statz. I am the administrator for the Division of Boating and Ocean Recreation. And I'm gonna have our crew that's here introduce themselves.
Hi. And if you don't know me, I'm Finn McCall. I'm the engineering branch head for Division of Boating and Ocean Recreation, and I'm managing all the rebuild projects for the harbor.
Thanks. We'll go to Jerry.
Hello, I'm Jerry. I'm the acting district manager for Maui District at this time.
Yeah, we also have on the Zoom as well, Daynette from Lahaina. Are you here?
Yes.
All right. Everybody should know Daynette. Okay, we're gonna turn it over to Zeph. You, anybody from Maui County you would like to introduce?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Zeph McKee, County of Maui, Office of Recovery. I'm joined on here by Jordan Hart. He and I are working jointly on a lot of these projects to assist with the reopening and new access to the harbor. Also in the attendees, we do have some of our parking consultants. So they're here present and available to answer any questions should something come up. Thanks.
Thanks, Zeph. Was there anybody here from HECO that was gonna attend? I know you were gonna try to invite them, or do you know if they were going to join on as well?
Yes, I did invite several individuals from Hawaiian Electric. I believe I see Dave Okamura raising his hand. He's with HECO. You can add him if you'd like.
Awesome. All right, Dave, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and any other staff you might have with you?
Hello, can anybody hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, because I couldn't find a mute button, so I thought maybe I was one of those not alone. So Dave Okamura, I'm the Director of Engineering for Hawaiian Electric Companies. And then actually, I can't see who else came on. I know we had some of our folks invited from like our permitting side, Roy.
Okay, if you are with Dave, if you guys can just raise your hand, and then that way we can call on you, so you can introduce yourself. If not, that's okay. Thank you, Dave, for being here. Yeah. We appreciate it.
I just got promoted to panelist. Thank you.
No pressure, Dave, none whatsoever. All right. So with there not being any other agencies, we're kind of just going to jump into it. I know, okay, we're going to add Aaron as well. Todd saw that. Okay. Do you want Aaron to introduce herself, Zeph?
Yeah, my apologies.
No problem.
Erin Wade is here. She's the Deputy Managing Director for the county.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Right above Todd. Okay, Erin, I think you should be able to unmute yourself.
Apologies, folks. Sorry for that little blip. Good morning, Erin Wade, Deputy to Managing Director. Just here to assist Zeph in whatever coordination is needed. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here, Erin. Okay.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I think we're good. I know I want to be able to, we're going to talk about the possible reopening tentative date. So I'm appreciative that the county is here. You know, we are taking the county's lead on this. And we appreciate the support and coordination from the county. So, but before we jump into that, I just wanted Finn to give an update on the Lahaina projects that we've been working on that, you know, may be happening during the time that the harbor might be reopened for this short period of time. So why don't you go ahead, Finn?
Sure. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. So we do have this list on our website. So so that you guys can just take a closer look at it. I'll just go through it real quick. Currently, right now, we just finished a demo of the harbor office, and we're preparing to put out a bid for the rebuild. We're gonna target doing that next month. Ongoing construction is renovation of the comfort station. That's already been started. Demo work has been started. It's painting work. We're waiting for delivery of materials. The partitions are a particularly long lead item, but we are targeting trying to get that project completed by the beginning of December, if possible. So yeah, hopefully we will have that, the bathroom ready to open by then. We do still need to restore power to the comfort station, so that's something that we can talk with Eco about later on. Next project that's gonna be coming up will be our dredging project. So we did request a release of funds. We are waiting on those funds to get released. But in the meantime, we do have our Army Corps permit submitted. We had to do a coral relocation, work. And submit that report to Army Corps before they'll approve our permit to start dredging. So that core relocation work is gonna be happening next month. So yeah, we're targeting, hopefully being able to start the dredging by March of next year. I'm sorry, February. And then with completion in June. And then so following dredging project, depending on when we get our permits for either the inner marginal wharf or outer marginal wharf, whoever gets the permits, so it's permit race. Whichever project we get permits for first is what is going to start first. We do still need to put the inner marginal installation work back out to bid because our formal contract had expired. So we are looking at starting that work possibly in October of next year. And then so for the outer marginal wharf, we are waiting for those funds to get released. And so we still need to get those the actual release of funds issued before we can start on the design and permitting. So yeah, like I said, comfort station targeting completion in December. And then after that, would probably be the outer marginal wharf. And then completion of the harbor office would probably be the last thing that will be completed to reopen, have everything completed for the harbor. So that's just general update. As always, things are subject to change. You know, things tend to get pushed back because of design and permitting. So, you know, there could be delays because of permitting. And so, yeah, we'll keep issuing updates to you guys as we keep moving through this, but we are pushing as hard as we can to get all this stuff out to bid and get the rebuild going as soon as possible. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Finn. Does anybody have any questions regarding any of the updates that Finn just talked about? If you do, you can kind of raise your hand. We can give you a call. Erin?
Thank you. Is the repair of the boat ramp included at all in the scope that's anticipated for this round?
No, so we're actually not rebuilding the boat ramp. We're gonna actually, the boat ramp's gonna get removed. And we need to do that in order to make room for piers for the front row slips.
Thanks for clarifying.
Yep.
Good question. Thanks, Erin. I got Naalehu. You have a question?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Naalehu Anthony for Pa'akai Communications. So just to follow up to Aaron's question, does that mean that the boat ramp will no longer be there forever, or is that an interim thing? And then that's the first question. The second is there anything that is been mentioned thus far that would prevent us from opening on the 15th of December?
So I'll let Finn talk about the ramp itself, but we're gonna go into part of the conversations. Everything that we're talking about now, We're just trying to figure out with the county, with the opening date of the 15th. So we're going to talk about a bunch of that. So I'm going to have the county talk about that after we talk. So right now, we're just talking specifically about the pending projects that we have. So we can
Copy.
talk a little bit about the ramp. No worries.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
so the
Thank you.
boat ramp, there is gonna get removed, and there isn't gonna be a boat ramp, in Lahaina Harbor. So yeah, we had to get rid of the boat ramp in order to make, like I said, to make rooms for, piers for each of the front row, slips. And historically, the boat ramp has barely, if ever, been used. It just kind of took up space that wasn't being utilized. So we made a decision to remove it so that we could make better use of the harbor space.
All right, does anybody else have any questions specifically on any of the projects that Finn talked about? Okay, not seeing any hands. I'm gonna, before we kind of move on and talk more about the tentative reopening, I was gonna turn it over to Zeph. If you guys had anything, I know we're gonna talk about parking and whatnot a little bit further. If there's something you want to talk about now, I'll give the floor to you guys if you want.
Thanks, Megan. I do want to recognize John Smith, Officer Recovery Administrator, just jumped on. So he's on here as well, able to answer any questions. To run over things really quick, the county is going to open up the parking lot at 116 Prison Street. That's right along the intersection between Front Street and Prison Street right there. There's about 80 parking stalls there, 80, 86, somewhere between there. We're going to have active parking ambassadors present in the entire area. The county would like for the areas surrounding the banyan tree to remove all parking areas from there and have a designated active loading and unloading zone along Wharf Street only, right where the bus loading and unloading used to be. That's where we would like visitors to the harbor to load and unload. We're also going to be opening and closing access to the harbor area. Every day we'll be opening at 8 a.m. and we are planning on closing at 6 a.m. or I'm sorry, 6 p.m. And we will be allowing access to the harbor area through Front and Dickinson Street, through Prison and Luakini Street, and through Front and Shaw Street. And I can share a map with you guys if you'd like to see more detailed plans. That right now is what the county is planning on, contingent on the repair of the comfort station and resumption of activities in the harbor area. And I'll leave it to John if he wants to add anything. Thanks.
I'll just add, we've been talking to Mayor about this quite a bit recently, and he recognizes the need for commercial activity to resume where possible, where safe. But the opening in the way it opens is going to be slow and measured and controlled compared to what it was before. Obviously, there's quite a bit of work to do still in the harbor itself. And thanks for that update, guys. There's going to be a lot of construction activity around this area for the next couple years. There's actually quite a bit of planting activity that's about to happen in and around Banyan in those areas over the next few months. And there's still a number of like public infrastructure repair projects that are going to be underway. So I would look at this as definitely as an interim start, an interim opening, but a way to have some commercial activity resume in coordination with everyone. Aaron, do you want to weigh into from the conversations you've had with Mayor and maybe Kapono'i folks? Is you still on?
I'm here. What did you want me to discuss?
Well, just the general sentiment of how this thing will, should come back, and then the things we're planning on.
I think we would really like to coordinate you folks in terms of, and I think Zeph, you've been doing this, to understand what operators have been invited and authorized to come back, and then to set up for the 15th for the opening activities to have a kind of a group exercise, some official opening protocols with our Department of OEV Resources, KUMU, to reset and identify everyone's expectations of one another and priorities moving forward for the opening. So we'd love to be in coordination with the operators in order to schedule a time to do that, and then to work with you folks as well to have some type of on-water ceremony for the opening of the pier as well. And Na'alehu, who's also on this call, is helping as well to coordinate that day.
And that could happen prior to the 15th as well, an event with the operators. I think that might be right.
Based on the moon calendar, John, the 15th is the date that's been requested for that activity.
Oh, okay.
If I could ask a question, so the access to the harbor, you guys are talking about 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. So operators would need to be out of the water, customers, everybody out before 6 a.m. It's gonna automatically close, right? So operators are gonna have to plan accordingly to be done, 5:15-ish or so, as kind of the last sail coming in or whatnot, right? Dropping off passengers so that the 6 o'clock time is adhered to, right? Same thing with the 8 a.m. as well. So want all the commercial operators to kind of understand that as well, that's where you guys will have to plan accordingly with the reopening of what the county is going to allow with the facility. I just kind of wanted to talk, I know Aaron, you'd mentioned a little bit about what operators are going to be operating. And so we are working on a list, and we're trying to figure out which ones are able to use it. I know there's been some questions that have come with the commercial operators about, is it possible for a commercial operator to temporarily use somebody else's mooring offshore? We've got a lot of questions about that. Unfortunately, our answer at this time to the commercial operators is based upon the current emergency proclamation and our administrative rules. We will not be able to allow that, but we'll work with those companies just to get an idea of how many there are and if we need to amend or see if we can amend the emergency proclamation. We can try to work on that. I just can't promise anybody anything, right? So as of right now, it's anybody that doesn't need the offshore mooring area, or that doesn't have a permit for the offshore mooring area would not be able to be one of the companies coming in to operate commercially. And I know, Zach, you had your hand up, so we'll let you ask a question.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate this. I had a quick question regarding logistics. A lot of the crew have been going to great lengths to, with operating these charters from different locations, and it would be very easy if they could, and very good if they could access the boats with dinghies from the harbor, which they did in the past. And most commercial boat operators on the outside are going to be aware of that. So could we please get a plan for allowing a certain designated area to dinghy? There's plenty of room. Obviously, if there's any construction or something that's pending, we'll be in communication, but allowing a space to have a dinghy. So, you got to add quite a bit of time launching from Mala, and there's, already logistical issues with that. So if you guys could consider that, I'd be very grateful.
Okay, great question, Zach. We'll take a look at that and try to come up with something. We'll talk with Daynette and Jerry, and then we'll let everybody know.
Thank you.
One of the questions I had for the county, going back to the harbor itself, do we know whether I mean, I think we were concerned about the electrical connections, right? We talked about that, and John, in the past, whether or not any of the areas would be lit, but I guess if you guys are only allowing till 6 o'clock, I guess at that point, there really wouldn't be too much in the way of the sunsets, in, 5:45, 6 o'clock-ish, right? It's winter time. So it might be a little bit starting to come down. So I think we might be okay based upon your guys' time frame.
Yeah, the time frame was basically set that way because of this the sun going down. So we don't, there's a lot of places for people to trip in this area still, no matter how much fencing we put up or how hard we try to barricade things off. So what we're trying to do is accommodate as much as we can, but basically run this entire operation while there's still light. And then, we can talk after, we can talk, and I see Dave's on, but we could talk about the lights later, but I don't think that's going to be a thing right now for this opening.
Okay. No, that's definitely good to know. Yeah, because if we don't have power to the restrooms hopefully will be open by the time we do this.
Yeah, I mean, we can still run the restrooms without power during the day.
Yeah.
'Cause it's just
Yeah.
plumbing,
Yeah.
everything's pressurized and gravity flow, right? So, but yeah, for any kind of nighttime stuff, we'd need power. And yeah, and we can talk more about this, Dave at Eco, about the, we're still not sure, exactly where the source for the power that came from for the street lighting, in the harbor. So yeah, that's something we're not sure about with, how to restore that stuff.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I mean, we have an option that we could run a line down canal just to feed the conversation if we need to. Not sure if that would be considered temporary or permanent, to have an overhead line on canal. Yeah, who has jurisdiction over that? Because that might be state property, yeah. And then so, I mean, we did want to have a meeting with the electrical consultant or whoever that might be kind of looking at this overall master plan of what's going to be restored over the next few years, at least in the foreseeable future, so that we can plan our facilities accordingly and not have to do rework after we run something down, then have to rerun it with a bigger size conductor or three phase or something. Yeah, so not sure if there's only one entity kind of like restoring, I mean, all the services that were there before, and one consultant being used.
No, we have two consultants, or maybe three, but yeah, we have three. So, but yeah, I'll get them all on board.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, we'll down the road, we'll have a meeting with you guys and all your planners and everything, and yeah, make sure we get all the info you guys need in terms of our needs so that we can plan out extending power.
So, I mean, and I'm hoping that will be soon, that meeting, like maybe next week.
Yeah.
If we're gonna shoot for a pole line to come down canal to feed that conversation, we would need to start on it like soon to be able to get that thing executed by December 15th. So yeah, let's see if we can get something next week, because
Yep.
And then we'll decide whether it's just a temp run or if it's actually something we can build off of and use that to serve all those other services that used to come from the line that came through the school.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, we'll set something up for next week. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks.
Dave, just to
Awesome.
confirm, that would be temporary lines that you're talking about running down canal, right? I'm sorry if I didn't.
Well, that's what I want to kind of determine too. Yeah, whether we're going to just do it as a temp just to serve the conversation, or if we're going to bring that down to eventually serve other things too. So then we would size it differently. Yeah.
Right. Do you know, Dave, and you might not know this, has anybody from the county reached out to you as far as long-term planning for the Lahaina space, any of that, or has anybody reached out to Hawaiian Electric about that?
No, so the only thing we have so far is we have a service request to restore one side of it that would feed some of the slips. That's more like the north side. Yeah, and even this conversation, we don't really have a request in that, maybe we can work on that too. Just again, depends on what you folks want to do. And then that way we can kind of tie it all in, determine which ones we'll do for free as restoration. And if it is temp, maybe that's something we have to charge, so
Okay.
that it's okay.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, so Jim Walsh, you had your hand up. Thank you for being so patient.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for hosting the meeting. John, question probably for you on this 8 to 6 p.m. thing. Obviously, that's for the passenger side. There are, in order to get the boats ready for an 8 o'clock departure, crew typically need to come in.
Yeah, that's understood. That's understood. I mean, we're talking about bringing in passengers and letting them out. I mean, we know you guys got to get there earlier. That's totally fine. But what we need to know who those people are, and we could set up earlier date for people that are working.
Yeah, and so do we.
Yeah,
I hope
got
we'll
it.
get to that one too.
That's why we're having this meeting.
Yeah. So okay, thank you.
We want everybody to be out at the end, but like we understand that's why there's a buffer in the morning, right? It gets light earlier than 8 o'clock. We know that.
So I think
Yeah.
what we'll do on our side, John, is have Daynet reach out to the commercial operators that are going to be coming in, what time they're looking at having their crew come in. So we can kind of figure that, because on our side too, when we get the list, and hopefully we'll have a list finalized by the end of next week, so next Friday, which is I think the 7th, that we can work with you guys where we have the permitted list that we're going to work off of, and we're going to have the times that they're kind of coming in. And I think that will help at least know how many vessels and how many, what their passenger count is. And I don't know how many people are going to come in. I mean, I don't know what I'm trying to think of the word. Just trying to figure out how many people want to come in and do a tour from that area. So we'll work to try to figure that part out, but we'll get that information to you as soon as we can. If we've got the list on Friday, I'd say the following week, we can get that to you guys as well. I wanted us to talk, county talked about parking for customers and that location. So we could do 2 different things for employees. We can issue some permits to the permit parking area that we have on that one side of the harbor, which is closer to the King Kamehameha Elementary School section.
The lower area of Canal Street.
Yeah. And so we could issue permits to that if that's easier for the county in the way of employees parking separately rather than in that lot. It might keep that separation, because I think we should have enough parking stalls to do that as well.
That's preferred from the county's standpoint,
Okay.
that it's managed that way. Thank you.
Yep. That sounds good. So we'll work on creating some sort of parking permit to go on the dashboard for the staff. We'll have Jerry and Daynet work on something that we can show you guys, so you guys have a copy of it, so you know what's what.
That'll help with the parking ambassadors. So like for the guys that get there early to set up, they'll have that permit and that'll be easy to track. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Thank you.
Okay, great. Todd, can you pull up the map and share the map of the harbor? Sharing? Okay, so for the commercial operators that will be doing the loading and unloading, these are the areas that we are looking to approve. We're trying to make sure, I know, you guys will probably be fueling as well in the area, so you guys will be using the fueling section, and I know there's one on the other side there, Todd, on the right-hand side of the picture. But these are the areas that we're going to use for the loading and unloading. I just want to know if there's any questions from any of the commercial operators or questions. So when we talk about loading and unloading, it is active loading and unloading. There is no overnight mooring. Nobody can stay in the harbor afterwards. You got to go back to whatever your location is. And there is no motoring in the facility itself. So that's something that we will be putting on an addendum that we will have everybody sign so that if DoCare comes down and needs to be able to address it, or if Daynette, who's going to also be down there. So we'll have that addendum ready to go. And everybody will sign it before the 15th, but just be aware that that's part of it. Jerry, you have a question?
Actually, I was gonna add, once we do get the companies list and everything, DoCare has asked us to forward them a copy so that they know who's supposed to be going in and out as well.
Yeah,
So I tell them
absolutely.
to coordinate that to them.
Right. I think it's important to make sure that the county has that list, DoCare has that list, so that everybody's all on the same page about what's happening in the facility. Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
David Jung, you got a question?
Yeah, hello, good morning. Fighting with the computer a little bit to get online. Why is the original north side not being used?
You're talking about the area where it's fueling?
Yeah, we only use that occasionally, so why is that being blocked out? It's just,
Because we want to make sure that the area is open for fueling.
okay, so
That's
the
all.
hoses reach to the face of the dock as well. That's the westernmost face. Those hoses reach there as well. And there's fueling on the south side as well. The south side has fueling for diesel. The original north side has fueling for gas and diesel, and both of those hoses reach to the face. I think it's a big mistake not allowing that part of the loading dock, which is the primary part, to be used. We've used that for 20, 30 years.
Okay.
Not a problem.
Okay, well, we'll talk with the fuel provider and see if that is going to be an issue or not. And then we'll let everybody know when we are doing the approvals. But thanks for your comment.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, once again, you probably didn't know, but the
No.
hoses reach all the way to the face as well.
Yeah, I definitely don't know that. I don't never fueled there, but so that's why we're having this conversation. So
Okay.
appreciate your comments. Thanks, Dave.
Very good. Thank you.
Yep. Yep, sure thing. So one of the things I think Daynette is also working on is we're just going to get that schedule. So she'll be reaching out if she hasn't already, to get that information from everybody. I think the other thing that we wanted to talk about, Zeph and John, is the coordination of the press release. I know we have our DLNR comms coordinator, Andrew Lawrence, I know is working with you guys. So just trying to figure out when we might put out some sort of press release. We had a situation where somebody was putting out information on their website specifically that we are reopening on the 15th with our Dobor logo. So just keep in mind, everybody that's on this call, it has not been confirmed until there's a press release that is approved by the County of Maui and through DLNR. So let's just make sure we keep all that in mind. So with that being said, Zeph and John, do we have like a tentative date that we're looking to put out a release?
Yeah, I mean, what we've been doing for any significant event is first, going through channels like this, having meetings like this, meeting with all of our partners, our partner agencies, and making sure that we're all on the same page. We are so far. Then we take it to the community. Our next community meeting is November 5th. Encourage anyone who on here that wants to attend to come to that meeting. It's at the intermediate school, I believe, this time.
Correct.
5:30 next Wednesday, where we will make an announcement there, and then generally a press release comes after that. And we haven't set a date on that, but that's where we would, the timing of that and how that goes out. That's why we have Pa'akai on our team to work with you folks on how that's going to go. So I don't know Na'alehu or if anybody else is on here, but That's generally how it'll work. So definitely nothing would go out before then, before we talk to the community about this one more time.
Okay, so I guess we'll figure out after you guys have that. We'll wait for you guys to have the press release. I see Naalehu has his hand up, so why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, just to follow up with what John was saying, you know, we're happy to start a draft if you'd like us to, or if you want your office to start a draft, and then we can chime in, you know, whatever makes you more comfortable, and just supporting the idea that we want to be able to talk story with the community,
Yeah.
start to socialize it, and then move that out into the larger the larger conversation.
Yeah, I think with our comms person being kind of new, I would ask that the county takes the lead in writing a press release with some of the information on it, and with working with Andrew, and then we can take a look at it on our side. We'll make sure that, you know, if there's anything that we want to include from the boating side of it. But I think that would be great, if you don't mind.
No problem at all. We'll get a draft out, and then we can use that as a tool to make sure that there's alignment on the state and county side, and then we can get it finalized before, obviously before release, and make sure that we're including anything else that might be that might come back as feedback with this initial conversation in community. I'll make a note. We'll get a draft out. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Aaron, you have a question or comment?
I do, thank you. So if we're talking about socializing this on Wednesday, John, were you expecting to also share the schedule of what's happening when at that time, or just to talk about the pier itself?
When you say what's happening, when you mean the overall schedule for the harbor?
The overall construction schedule.
Yeah, I do think it's important to share contextually how much work is going to happen over the next, couple years in and around this area.
Okay.
To provide context for why this is a soft opening and not just everything's open. It's really loading and unloading for commercial activities. I think we definitely need to explain it that way and explain some of the whys behind that. So
okay, we're gonna need a group that's very prepared, because there's gonna be a lot of concern that the boat ramp is disappearing. The expectation of the community, I think, has been that some of Mala's traffic was gonna be able to be relieved by the repair of that boat ramp. And if the scope of work currently just not even doesn't include the repairs of it, but the complete removal of it, I think that's going to be, we will need to be very prepared for Wednesday, John, if that's the case. If we're going to share a schedule like this that includes the removal of a boat ramp, I think we have to prepare ourselves for what that looks like.
okay.
So if I can just add some comments, I know when they were talking about, when we met after the fires, I mean, there was community input about expanding the launch ramp that's there, which is rarely used currently, or in the past, excuse me. But that was all tied into obtaining the property of the school, which is not going to happen. And there is no trailer parking stalls or ability to kind of launch from that area. So I completely understand, Aaron, what you're saying about the community and what they had asked for. Unfortunately, that's just not it's not in the bigger picture. If we don't have any extra parcel or anything for trailer boaters to go to, it just wasn't something that was feasible. And it was a decision that wasn't made by us, but made outside above our pay grade, that there wasn't going to be an expansion for extra parking or trailer parking for the Lahaina Boat Harbor. So I understand completely what you're saying as well. So appreciate your thoughts and comments on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we in terms of what we share on Wednesday, this is going to be very relevant, because if the whole narrative around this, the whole picture of discussions and decisions and plans for construction ends up coming into the dialogue, this is going to come up. And if they haven't had an opportunity to hear this already, I think it's going to be an issue. So we might want to just, for the meeting on Wednesday, John, focus on the specific announcement of the opening of the pier.
Okay, yeah, okay. Got it. Wasn't something I was thinking about, so looks like Peter's got his hand up.
Yeah. Go ahead, Peter.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I just had a quick thing I thought I'd mention to you guys. I'm a commercial operator and I'm currently operating out of Mala. One thing that has been brought to my attention at Mala from the Doug, the guy that was dredging Mala at the time, on the north, there's two ramps there. On the north ramp, on the outside of the north ramp, there is a rock wall, and there is availability to move that rock wall northward and expand it to where a potential boat could pull in and use that north side of the north loading, creating a third spot for a boat to tie up at the ramp without impacting coral or anything else there, and even not even needing to build anything, basically just needing to move some rocks. And I just thought I'd throw that out there as you guys are talking about the ramp and knowing what kind of community response may come from the decision to remove the ramp at the harbor. That may help to alleviate some of the pressure that's currently at Mala with a very minimal expense on the state's part and without impacting anything environmentally. And currently that spot of the that I'm talking about, they dredged that spot north of the rocks there. So like it's already been cleared out and it's not a spot that you're going to impact anything. You're just going to, but in a sense, you could potentially make a third spot at Mala. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. Yeah, that's all. Thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Peter. Yeah, no, and we're aware of that project, and I don't see any issues with that. We would need, that would be like a major CIP project, so we'd need CIP funding for the permitting and construction to do that. But yeah, I don't see any reason why there'd be any problems with doing that. Yeah, and it would create another third side of the dock to moor up to.
So although Finn, seems to be pretty, he doesn't see a problem with doing it. Again, it comes down to capital improvement project funds, which we have already submitted our request to the governor and the governor's budget. And we don't know what's going to be in there, and that ask is not in there. So I would ask operators that do work out of Mala to work with your area legislators to try to see if that's something that they can put in their CIP ask for this upcoming legislative session. Somebody asked a question in the chat, will the Mala ramp be repaired or upgraded since the Lahaina Harbor ramp is being removed? That's kind of a little bit what we kind of talked about. But there are no capital improvement project funds to do any major repairs or upgrades to the ramp at this time. So again, I would suggest you work with your area legislators to see if that's a CIP ask that they can put in this next session. So I didn't have anything else. I didn't know if Zeph, if you guys felt that we should do another meeting prior. I think we can probably, Zach is asking or releasing if you guys have a map with the open roads and parking. Can you guys provide that as well so they know what's open?
Yeah, not only, yeah, we can look at one, but we're also looking to provide handouts for the operators, or so that's something that's really simple for people to understand, especially those that don't know the area and will be coming in as as tourists or just. And so we're working on that information right now. As soon as we finalize this plan, we can help distribute that and get that out to the group. I don't know if you want to pull up your map, Zeph. do you have one that's worth going through now, or is?
Yeah, I mean, I can go through it now if you'd like. We're working on something that's public facing. But Megan, if you think it'd be valuable right now, I could share screen and go over what it's going to look like.
Yeah, I think that would be, good. While you do that, there is a question. How long will the 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. time restriction be in place? And can that be expected to change with sunset, sunrise shifting in spring? I'll leave that to John.
Yeah, I think we're we're willing to work with the community on this. We definitely want to, first of all, we got to make sure things are safe. That's just paramount to all of this. We need to see how this goes. So it's in everybody's best interest to help us make this go well, to start. And then I think from there we can adjust. But I don't expect that area of town to be built back up for a couple years. So I think we're going to be in this interim state for a while until the harbor is really completely put back together. And then we are tracking all the permits and commercial activity in and around this area, and there quite a bit of it is moving forward. But still, even if all of it started today, it's at least a couple-year process. So I think what we're looking at is an interim state of operation for until the harbor's completely back together. And during that interim period, we're the county is willing to do what makes sense for the community, what makes sense for you guys in a more controlled manner than it was before. Thanks. Guys,
Thanks, John.
I have to run, but thank you for everyone for working together on this. Thank you, those that are in the voting community and commercial community, for your patience with this. We are working hard to make this a reality, and looking forward to a successful start. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, Zeph, you wanted to show your, I have another question. I don't know if you want to answer this one since we're talking about parking and access. There's a question that says, if we own commercial property in the area, can customers park there? I would leave that up to the county to figure it out whether or not.
Absolutely. We actually want to encourage commercial, if there are owners of private parking lots or commercial property, and it's not on the street, we would like to encourage them to open up and allow parking in that area. Go ahead, John.
I'm going to jump in right before I leave, but sorry. I think everyone understands that the issues we have across the county with folks that move into vacant lots and just stay there and become a nuisance or a problem. And I mean, that's just indicative of our housing crisis. We all know that. But this space is so open right now that we really need to at night shut it down. So definitely use your spots, but please don't create a new problem, or help us not to create a new problem where we have a lot of people staying overnight. That will become a real problem if we don't manage this well, and we'll need all of our partners to work on that together. So thank you.
Thanks, John, for the clarification. All right, I'll briefly go over what is currently planned. We would like any who are accessing the harbor from the north to turn left along turn right onto Lahaina Luna Road. Dickinson Street, the right turn off of Honopi'ilani Highway, that area is still closed from the state DOT, I believe. So that intersection isn't open yet. And then you can left turn on Waine'e, and then right turn on Dickinson, and then another left turn onto Front Street, and then follow the counterclockwise access here to the harbor area. And you can see here, this little yellow area, this is where we want to have drop off, active loading and unloading only. We are going to barricade off Papele Kane Street and Market Street and close those to vehicle access. Let me see if I can go a little more detailed. So this is the expected traffic flow. We are going to discourage visitors from turning right from Hotel Street onto Wharf Street. So we're going to put up a no entry sign right there. However, for the commercial operators, the boating community, we'll encourage them to use that space to load and unload, so we can focus on passenger loading and unload on the south section of Wharf Street, if that makes sense. So we're going to place signage that prohibits people from turning right in that area, unless, you know, they're a commercial operator or work with the state, because I know the state is planning on doing additional construction projects in that area and staging. So
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point, Zeph, because, you know, we may be using that area specifically, and even the parking area, it just depends when we have construction starting, that may shift where the permittees can park and where there's going to be access, right? If we're starting to rebuild the harbor office, everything fronting that area is going to be used by the contractor. So things will definitely be shifting. So we'll just ask that everybody kind of works with us to ensure that we're all kind of on the same page.
correct, yeah. So a lot of this is subject to change, and we're gonna work with Dobor to accommodate whatever you guys need. We'll help assist with that. Papele Kane Street is actually owned by the state. So unless we hear otherwise, we're just gonna keep it closed to vehicle traffic to prevent congestion and things like that. So, but again, if you guys at Dobor wanna use it, go ahead. So let me just go through south access. So we're gonna encourage people coming from the south to turn left onto Shaw Street and then turn right onto Front Street. You can see here, here's the two county parking lots we're going to have open. We have one at 500 Front Street, right across from Kamehameha Iki Park. And this is where we'll encourage people who are going out to surf at breakwalls or access the beach to park here. And then farther north along the Front and Prison Street intersection at 116 Prison Street, we'll be opening up that parking lot. Like I said previously, it has about 80 stalls. And we're encouraging people who are going to go to tours at the harbor to park here. So we're going to encourage visitors to come and park in this area. For people with ADA concerns, we'll encourage drop-offs at the loading zone, Mackay of the banyan tree. Any questions on that? All right. And then I'll go over pedestrian access briefly. This right now is what we're planning for pedestrian access. I do want to note the banyan tree is going to still be closed December 15th. I may have reported that it was going to be opened on the 15th, but we have determined that it's still not quite ready for full reopening. However, we're just going to fence off the areas around the park that are unsafe, so people will still be allowed to walk along the grass and follow this pedestrian route. Additionally, you'll notice here on the north end of the harbor, we have Baldwin Park and Lahaina Restoration Foundation's Baldwin House. This area is, I think, still going to stay open. We're working with LRF to make sure it's going to stay that way, but we'll encourage pedestrians to follow this route from the north. And then we're going to have signage with A-frames pretty much along the entire pedestrian route. So it's going to be very comprehensive so that people know exactly where they should walk and should not be walking. Because there are going to be a lot of hazards still. Let me see. And here's just an overview of the intersections we're planning on opening and closing at 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. So in the north, Front and Dickinson, in the middle, Prison and Luakini, and then in the south, Front and Shaw. Any questions from Dobor or from anyone else? I'm happy to answer them.
So nothing from us. I know, Dave, you've had your hand up. Do you have a question about this?
Yes, I just really appreciate the efforts to open up the harbor on a soft opening. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. If we wait for everything to be perfect, it's probably going to be 5 or 10 years. We need to keep our eye on the goal of getting our soft opening successful. When we start talking about community involvement, I would really encourage everyone to consider the harbor community and not necessarily an upcountry community or a Kahului community. Actually, the harbor users are the community, and that's myself as well, that have been using this harbor for 50 years. And I hope everybody keeps their eye on the ball. We don't get distracted about rebuilding Mala or Kanapali or other areas. And let's just get our harbor open on this soft opening. The governor gave a emergency proclamation that encourages all departments to minimize the economic impact of this fire. And I hope both the state and the county will respect that intent to minimize the damage from the fire. I mean, we had the immediate damage from the fire, and now the secondary damage is the delayed opening. So the sooner we get things open, the more people can come back to work. We can start recovering Lahaina's economy. So I just beg everybody to keep the eye on the ball. Let's not get distracted. Let's make our soft opening happen. Thank you very much.
Thanks for your comments. Does anybody have any other questions? I don't think we have too much that we're gonna kind of talk about, so just allow anybody to ask any questions before we kind of wrap up. I don't see any questions, so we'll follow up internally, Zeph, with you guys and Jordan, on our next steps. What we're going to be doing, so everybody knows, is we'll get a final list of permittees by next week, Friday, with all the information that we can pass on to the county. We're going to work on doing our draft parking permit for our area. We're going to work on that, and then we're going to work on our addendum, which has the restrictions. And one of the things that I've got on my notes here is to follow up on the loading areas, including the north and south side. So that's what we're going to be working on our side. And then we'll be coordinating with you guys when the county is ready for the press release. And once we have that, then we'll make sure we put the press release on our website and send it out as well. So is there anything else you wanted to add, Zeph or Jordan, on your guys' side, or Naalehu or Aaron?
None for me, thanks. If there's any questions regarding access or maps or anything like that, please feel free to email or call me. Thanks.
Jordan, you good?
Yeah, just thank you everyone for participating, and feel free to contact us. Thank you.
All right. Naalehu, you have anything you wanted to add before we jump off? Nope, you're good. Okay.
Thank you. And we'll get a
All
draft shortly for everyone's review. Thank you.
Okay. Perfect. Well, I just want to say thank you to everybody for being here, for trying to get everybody on the same page. This is a big deal. We are definitely, wanting to be respectful in the community, and we are taking the county's lead on this. So we appreciate all the meetings and follow up. And if anything comes up that we feel like we need to meet again with all the operators, we'll let you know. But other than that, I hope everybody has a safe and fun, happy Halloween, Aloha Friday, and we'll talk to you guys again soon. Don't hesitate to reach out if you guys have anything as well.
Thank you,
All right.
Megan. Thank you,
Thank you.
Finn.
All right. Aloha, everyone.
Mahalo,
Thank you.
everyone.